What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. I got Grant Cohn on this program today. I get asked the questions, a little role reversal. We're matching. We got the same color fit on. I'm glad to have him, man. Good show. Playing for you guys, a little Christmas special. Thank you for being here. Let me run this intro. We're gonna dive in here with Grant Cohn.
Tonight I look real good right now. Hey, I'm telling you.
You dial to the right place.
Super Bowl bird hangs in the balance. Montana rolling out the right, looking towards the end zone, throwing under pressure, throws it pass. Caught by Clark. Clark let him touchdown. Right back at it.
Your host, Ryan Hensley.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for being here. Let's take care of a couple things real quick. Please do me a favor and like this video. If you're on my channel, if you're on Grant's channel, like it there. You're probably already subscribed to Grant. If you're not, subscribe to my channel as well. I'd appreciate that. And then real quick, let's pay some bills. The Ryan G. Hensley Show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Hensley for $100 initial deposit match. Also, Blue Water Credit will fix your credit. The best credit repair company I've used. I've used them since 2009 for all my clients. They're great. They're fantastic. The details are in the description. Fill out the form. Hit them up. Let them know Ryan G. Hensley sent you. They'll evaluate you for free. Let you know how much it costs, what they can do for you, all that good stuff. And then finally, my favorite sponsor, Hensley Real Estate and Mortgage. That's me. If you need to buy a house, sell a house, finance a house in the state of California, please hit me up. Details in the description for that. Grant, what's up, man? Thanks so much for being here.
Man, what's up? It's 9 a.m, chilling at my house, in my office, drinking some Jeremiah's Pick coffee. Never heard of it before. It's a local San Francisco thing. It's got a blue, like a light blue, turquoise blue wrapping kind of thing. Look cool. And I'm drinking it now, and I got to say,
It's good.
it's really good. It's really good, yeah.
No, I made my own mocha. So,
You made your own mocha.
yeah.
You seem like the kind of guy who would make his own mocha.
It's true.
You got a lot of stuff up your sleeve, man. It's like, what can Ryan not do? I don't know. Haven't made that list yet.
I'm kind of a jack of all trades. Probably not
Yeah.
the greatest at anything, but like, pretty mid at everything. So
You got your hand in everything. It's like, hey, I need XYZ. Call Ryan. He'll know a guy, or he can just handle it for you. Call Ryan.
I definitely know. I know a couple guys, man. Santa's creeping in on the scene today. He's looking at you kind of suspect.
Emphasis
right
on
now.
creeping. Emphasis on creeping. Like, what are you hiding, and what are you bringing in my house? Why should I trust you?
Yeah, it looks a little sketch. Kittle looks like a little sketchy too on the bottom, dressed up as Santa.
He looks like the
Is it
Grinch.
like an Irish Santa.
Just the Grinch, like that Grinch's little smile right there with his upturned. I don't know. I don't trust what he's bringing to my house either. Go away. You're not invited.
Yeah, that'd be crazy if you woke up in the middle of the night and Kittle's in your family room.
He'd be like, "Howdy!" I'm like, I didn't invite you. Get out of here. Howdy.
Yeah, man. Well, good to be asking you some questions today. I know usually you're asking me questions, but I like asking questions, and there's a million questions I want to ask you. One of them is not football related. I want to start off with this because we all know you as Grant Cohn, biggest 49er YouTuber on the planet, also editor, writer for all 49ers, SI.
Thanks.
But when you're not talking 49ers or working in the 49ers realm, people want to know what are you doing? What does Grant do when he's not involving himself with the 49ers?
That's a good question. A lot of my friends tell me I need a hobby because like my job is kind of like a hobby, like a lot of what I do is like it's your hobby. It's Jesse's hobby or whatever. So I try not to fill all my time with Niner stuff. I do spend a lot of time on the phone. And I feel like that's kind of how I built my YouTube channel is like, instead of me wasting all my time on the phone all day, because I like to talk on the phone, let's just make these hour-long calls public on YouTube and get paid for them. Everyone, what do you say? So that's one thing I do. But like recently I've been picking up a new hobby, which is cooking, which I really like. My mom was a great cook. My brother's a phenomenal cook. And my mom taught me, but I never really got into it very much. And I like it right now. It's like for a lot of reasons. One, it's very meditative. It gets you out of your head. I'm always in my head. So it's like step 1, step 2, do this. Also, there's fire. Things get hot. You can hurt yourself. That's pretty cool. There's like a degree of, danger involved.
Living on the edge a little bit.
Living on the edge. Absolutely. And I like to live on the edge. And then by the end, you have this creation that's not just for yourself. Like you could, working out's fun, lifting's fun, just doing a treat for your body. But this is a treat not just for you, but it's for others. It's an offering, and it's one of the nicest ways to show love. So I kind of like cooking, and I found my mom's cookbook. She passed away a couple years ago. And
Yeah.
I'm just going through it, and it's like at the end, it's like I remember that. It's like having your mom with you, Like, remember that movie Ratatouille? It's like that,
Yeah,
except
yes.
it's my mom.
So let me make sure I understand clearly. Your mother was Italian, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Italians cook. They cook. And so
Yeah.
yes. So your mother's Italian and Catholic. So do you celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah?
Yes.
That's cool, man.
Actually,
It's double up.
it was a double up. No, I didn't get presents for Hanukkah because it was like Hanukkah's early December, Christmas mid-December, my birthday January 13th. So it was like there's no way I was gonna finagle 3 rounds of presents in a month and a half.
Yeah.
It mostly
Yeah.
just came on Christmas, and then on my birthday they were like, "We got you, right? You're good. And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine."
Yeah. Yeah. So you're cooking Italian food. I'm taking it. A lot of Italian.
Chicken cacciatora, yeah, stuff like that. My
Nice,
mom's
man.
meat sauce. I want to make cioppino, but it's not crab season yet. And I never understand when it's crab season, when it's not crab season, and why they got to play with our emotions like that. I want that Dungeness crab. Why are you messing with me like that?
Don't they live
Let me
all
know.
year? Don't they live all year
Yeah.
round? That's confusing.
But it's not season yet, and I don't understand what that's about.
Yeah. I mean, it
Breaks
doesn't
my heart.
It's confusing. It's a little
Trying
bit
to make that
confusing.
cioppino, please.
We got a couple of super chats real quick, man. Darnold face at the podium, please, Grant, for $1.99. Okay, it's worth it.
Yeah, just like startled for no reason.
Excellent. It's a good face. Yes, Darnold. Matt McCowan. I don't know how I don't McEwen. I don't know how to. I don't know how to. Matt's great, man. I got to really dial in on that last name.
He
Matt.
wrote it in phonetically for me one time, so I got it because I was getting it
McEwen.
I was way off. I was saying like Carpenter, McGuire.
Merry Christmas, Matt, and also Tyler. Merry Christmas, Grant Ryan. Thank you very much, sir.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Well, I think we should probably talk a little football. The Rams played last night. I actually watched my kid play basketball last night, so I missed the game, but I saw some of the highlights. I've been watching the Rams. I think they've won 5 out of the last 6 games. Are we sleeping a little bit on the Rams? Like, tell me about that game last night and what your thoughts are on the Rams.
People might have been sleeping on the Rams. I don't think they are anymore. The one game they lost of their last 6 was an overtime game to the Ravens, who everyone thinks is the second best team in the league. So if they could go down to the wire with the Ravens, what does that mean about what they're going to do with the Niners? Like, they played the Niners week 2. They didn't have Cooper Kupp. They weren't really what they are right now, and they lost by 7, which is respectable considering every other team that's lost to the Niners has lost by double digits. They have a quarterback who's a Super Bowl winner, and he looks healthy. He's beaten the Niners in the playoffs. They have a coach who's a Super Bowl winner. They have Puka Nacua, who would be the rookie of the year if not for CJ Stroud. They got cut back. I mean, they're just a really good team. They have a good running back. They have a good tight end. Seems like that's the team you don't want to face in the playoffs. Like the Cowboys, bring them on. Eagles, you're dead. Rams are peaking. They're playing their best football right now. I saw Rich Madrid make this point on Twitter. I like to give credit, not just
shout out to Rich.
Shout out to Rich. He said that they have like 2021 Niners vibes. They were down and out for a while. People kind of wrote them off, but they could finish the season 10-7 and be the team that no one wants to face with that. I mean, Stafford is really good. You watched him last night.
I watched the highlights. Hall of Famer, man.
He can make throws that Purdy can't make. I'm sorry. He can make throws that hardly anyone can make.
Yeah. He's elite. He is an elite quarterback. I think sometimes we forget that because we beat them a lot in the regular season. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about facing the Rams possibly, because right now my understanding is if the season ended at this moment, they would be the 6th seed. And so there's a possibility we play them week 18, and then maybe at some point we play them in the playoffs. I think if it ended right now, the Rams would have to play the Lions, I believe. And I'm not so sure they can't beat the Lions. And then they're coming to Levi Stadium if we maintain where we're at right now. So it's an interesting dynamic. They got the Ravens coming up this week. You know, a lot of people thinking the Rams was kind of like you know, a few weeks ago we were looking at the Rams in week 18 and we're like a non-issue. But right now, I don't know. Like if we beat the Ravens, and I'm sure we're going to beat the Commanders, then they could possibly take the week off. But I don't know if we want to play the Rams 3 times and have to beat them 3 times. I guess we don't need to beat them in week 18, but the Rams scare me in the playoffs just because of the recent history. And I know I shouldn't be scared. Niners are the best team in the NFL by far, but man, Matt Stafford, that's the thing, Grant. These quarterbacks, and Lamar Jackson's one of them. We're going to talk about him in just a second. These elite quarterbacks can be game changers. Matt Stafford can be a game changer. He can go off. I mean, Kirk Cousins did it to us. Lamar Jackson can go off at any time and just change the game. That could happen this Monday on Christmas. I'm hoping that's not the case. But are you concerned about 49ers having to play the Rams in the playoffs? Because
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's the one game they don't want. I mean, look at them. The Rams finally have a running game for the first time in years. For the first time really since Todd Gurley fell apart. They got Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams is averaging 5.1 yards per carry on almost 19 attempts per game. He's a serious running back. And then when they pass the ball, like, you can't just dial in on one player. They have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and DeMarcus Nelson and Tutu Atwell and Tyler Higbee and Kyron Williams. So they're a lot like, you know, the Niners or the Dolphins. They can spread it around. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. They're peaking at the right time. And they have probably, you know, of all the Shanahan coaches from the Mike Shanahan tree, they have the best quarterback, the Rams, which is why they won the Super Bowl, and the Niners still haven't. Purdy still hasn't proven that he can get over those hurdles in the playoffs. He may this year. We expect him to. But it's like, you just rule out Dallas and Philly. What teams are potentially worried about in the NFC? Detroit and the Rams. And Detroit's good, but it's Jared Goff.
I'd rather play Detroit than the Rams, personally.
Yeah, and Jared Goff is really good in Detroit in that dome, but at Levi's, please. You know the team the Niners don't want to face is the Rams, because what happened 2 years ago in the playoffs. I mean, I'm sure they want to face them, but if they'd rather the Lions just take care of business, or whoever.
Do you think the plan is, you know, if they beat the Ravens, beat the Commanders, they're going to rest guys week 18, so they basically have 2 buys, 2 weeks off? Do you think that's the plan?
I don't think so. Maybe certain players. Maybe it's a player-by-player thing.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't think they want to be really rusty. Maybe if you're injured, don't play. Like Javon Hargrave, if he still has a hamstring injury, don't play. But I feel like a lot of people will at least play the first half. Maybe you'll do something like that. Make it like a preseason game. You get a quarter, a drive, a quarter, a half, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. 2 weeks off, that's a lot.
Yeah. Matt says, if you had to have one loss, would you rather lose to the Rams or the Ravens? I choose the Ravens, so we have to beat the Rams week 18. What's your answer to that?
Yeah, I guess so, right? Like, it would kind of stink to end the season on a loss, unless you were just punting it away. Be better to end the season on 2-game winning streak. Feel like if you lost to the Ravens, you know, hey, you know, we maybe had some injuries, whatever.
I think I'd rather beat the Ravens, beat the Commanders, and not care about week 18. I think that would be what I would rather do.
Yeah, psychologically, give you the biggest edge. We didn't actually lose. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that's how
it'd be tough to lose the Ravens and be like, well, if we face them again, we had them at home. We had an extra day to prepare, and we couldn't beat them.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. Was that
right? So Steve Young, man, comes out talking about the MVP race, and we got 3 guys that could possibly get it in this game coming up on Christmas. Obviously, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and then Lamar Jackson. And Steve Young basically said this game will decide it. If the 49ers come out and win and Brock has a good game, he'll be the MVP. If it's CMC that has the best game, he'll be the MVP. Or if the Ravens win and Lamar Jackson balls out, Lamar Jackson could seal the deal. Do you agree with Steve Young on that? And I wanted to see if you could also make the case for Brock Purdy to be the MVP.
Well, it seems to me that the MVP has sort of become, there's like an unspoken agreement that it's a quarterback award.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to the quarterback either with the best numbers or on the best team or a combination of it. So there's two teams who are 11-3. Brock has the better numbers, so he's the MVP front runner. But Lamar has all these rushing statistics, and people understand that his team isn't quite as good as Brock's, and he's sort of really leading that more than Brock is leading his team. And if he finds a way to beat Brock in Santa Clara, that'll be the story of the year, and Lamar will win the MVP. And I think that's pretty fair if that's how the award's going to be awarded. Also, to me, I think the person who's having the most extraordinary season, when we talk back 5 years, 2023 NFL, who had the most insane season? Tyreek. Yeah. Unless he misses the last few games and doesn't, but if he gets to 2,000 yards and no wide receiver's ever done that, people are going to remember this season for that. Oh, that was the year that first wide receiver went for 2,000, and he didn't get the MVP. I think the MVP should go to like players who do extraordinary things. But then again, Jerry Rice never won an MVP. And what's crazy about that, his quarterbacks won it 5 times. Joe Montana never won an MVP until Jerry Rice came along. Then he won 2. Young won 2. Rich freaking Gannon won an MVP throwing to old Jerry Rice. Wide receivers don't get enough respect. They're the Rodney Dangerfield of NFL players. I don't get it. They get a lot of money, but they don't get respect. Yeah. It seems outdated. Like a running back has a better chance to be an MVP than a wide receiver, but running backs get paid half. Like, come on. How does that make sense?
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. I hear the argument for Tyreek. I can see the argument for CMC. So right now, your vote before this game, your vote is who for MVP?
Tyreek.
Okay.
Just to be a jerk. I mean, assuming he gets to 2,000 yards. If he doesn't, or I mean, if he breaks it's 17 games though. But if he breaks a single season receiving record, and he's the number 1 weapon on a team that goes like 13-4. He's got a pretty freaking. If he can't win an MVP doing that, like Brock Purdy's he's the best quarterback statistically this year, but he's not going to throw 40 touchdown passes. He's very efficient, but the Niners hardly throw the ball. I'm just saying, if there's ever was a year to give it to a wide receiver, you could make the case that it'd be this year. And I don't understand why wide receivers aren't in the running. Doesn't seem fair. I think it's unfair. I shed one single tear every night for Tyreek Hill, and then I go to sleep.
Yeah. If I'm voting right now, I'm voting Brock. And here's why, Grant. Here's what I've been thinking about a lot lately. The biggest difference for this 49ers team to me versus previous seasons, all these seasons under Kyle Shanahan, the biggest difference is the passing game. A lot of people want to say CMC, and I get that. And he's having a fantastic year. Not to take away from him. And yes, the 49ers offense changed when he came last year, even with Jimmy. But the biggest difference with this team compared to other teams is the passing game and Brock's ability to take the top off. Something even he didn't do last year, and Jimmy never did. And that to me is the biggest difference. I actually looked at some numbers for Brock. Me and you were talking about passing attempts. If you look at Brock Purdy's first half passing attempts and you trend that out for 4 quarters, he's trending through the first half about 35 passes a game. If you do it through the first 3 quarters, he's trending about 31 attempts a game.
Makes sense.
Fourth quarter, game's over already.
It's over.
They're running the clock out.
Right.
Yeah. So the 49ers really are passing at a higher rate right now. They're just blowing teams out.
That's a good point. Good point. Thank you for pointing that out. Because it's a little careless to be like, hey, they're 32nd in the league in pass attempts. Yeah, man, because the game's over midway through the 3rd quarter, buddy. It's pretty simple. Yeah, you're right. I'm stupid for that. You're right.
No, that's not.
That's a good point, though. I'm glad that you actually went there and looked at the split stats, because that's important to know. Like, they do come out passing. We watch that every week. Can I make the case real quick for Lamar Jackson for MVP, though?
Yeah, let's do that. Let me.
I can make it in like 30 seconds.
All right,
I'm going to call this the Jimmy Garoppolo test.
Okay.
The Jimmy Garoppolo test. All right. Brock Purdy's really good. He's way better than Jimmy. And Jimmy Garoppolo was undefeated with this team last year when Christian McCaffrey was the was the running back. Now, Jimmy got hurt. If Jimmy were the quarterback on this team, how good would they be this year? I mean, they wouldn't. Let me ask it another way. They obviously wouldn't be as good on offense. What would their record be? Would they still be 11-3?
Here's the thing. I've been thinking about that question too. I think their record would be similar. Probably would be the same. But the way
would be different. The offense wouldn't be number 3. I totally agree. But they went 13-3 with Jimmy Garoppolo once upon a time. This team is better, I think, than the 2019 team. I think there is definitely a world where if he stays healthy, this team is absolutely 11-3 right now, albeit not as dangerous. Okay, let's do the Jimmy Garoppolo test with the Ravens. Take Lamar off that team.
Yeah.
Their quarterback is now Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
What's their record?
Not good. Not good.
How many fights would Odell Beckham have with the quarterback? Like,
oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
So he wouldn't have signed with the Ravens if Jimmy was.
You want to talk about value and like leading a team? That's what I think. That's the argument for Lamar. You take him off that team, and I don't know what they are. You take Brock off this team. Yeah, Sam Darnold. He's not gonna. I don't even know. Could they win with Sam? Maybe. That's how good the Niners are. Could they win with Sam Darnold? Maybe. That's how freaking good the Niners are.
Here's the difference, though. Why I think Brock should be MVP, because he's the best. So he's on the best team in the NFL. And to me, you're right. I think they'd still have a similar record with Jimmy Garoppolo. They wouldn't be winning how they are. But the big thing, which is what I want, is a Lombardi. And I have confidence that the 49ers can do that with Brock Purdy. I would have no confidence they could do that with Jimmy or Sam Darnold. And I think that's the big difference. I think they would fold in the playoffs like Jimmy's known to do. They'd go out and throw 8 times with Jimmy Garoppolo and lose to some team in the playoffs. And so that's
still like they could run through the NFC this year, handing off to McCaffrey and not passing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The NFC's that bad. I'm so sorry. But the Niners are in the weaker conference. Like Brock plays in the weaker conference than Lamar. He has a better offensive play caller than Lamar. He has better weapons than Lamar. He's not a better defense, but
there's zero question those are the reasons that Lamar is the more important to his team.
Yes.
I think that's
like if you ask, hey, who's the MVP of the Ravens? There is no hesitation to answer that question. It's Lamar. You ask who's the MVP of the Niners, it's like, well, you can make a case for Christian. You can make a case for Brock. I mean, it's a whole discussion. You could even make a case for Debo the last month. That's how good the Niners are. Or I've seen people make a case for Trent Williams, and it's a very convincing argument.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the success CMC.
Or you could just say it's Kyle.
You can say that too. A lot of success the CMC is having is attributed to Trent Williams. Really, I think CMC is great, but the way Trent Williams and when they run that outside zone toss, I mean, he's just clearing lanes for him.
That toss to the left, that's not even outside zone. It's just a straight up crack toss to the left. It's old school play, and it's been working for 3 years ever since they brought this dude to the team. Yeah, toss left. George Kittle comes in motion, knocks that guy like boom. Yeah, easy.
Yeah. So CMC could attribute a lot of his success to Trent. So, yeah, I hear the point. I don't know if we convinced anybody one way or the other. I think right now I'm voting Brock, but I think I agree with Steve Young. If Lamar goes out here and beats these Niners,
exactly,
I might be leaning.
It will be determined on Monday night. That's what's so great about this game. Yeah. It really doesn't matter what we think. The answer is going to be presented to everyone at the end of this game. I love it. That's just going to be it. Whoever wins this game is the MVP.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean whoever wins this game is going to win the Super Bowl, but those awards will be determined in one game. It feels like something that happened in like a boxing match. You know what I mean?
Is this the preview on the line? Is this the preview for the Super Bowl? I've been saying this is the preview for the Super Bowl for probably like 2-3 weeks now. Do you think that as well, or do you have a different opinion on that?
Say it again. Do you think Niners will?
Is this Monday night game a Super Bowl preview in your opinion?
I don't know about that. I still have questions about Lamar. He's been hurt the last couple of years. He was really young in the playoffs. His numbers haven't been great in the playoffs. He has a lot to prove in the playoffs. He's playing great now. That team is solid now. I still think the Chiefs are the team to beat. Like, no one's talking about them, but they have a great defense. They have the best quarterback maybe I've ever seen and a great coach. Don't write him off. Don't write that team off just yet.
Wouldn't that be crazy if we wrote off the Chiefs all year and then they end up in the Super Bowl again? That would drive me nuts. I forgot.
I was talking about the Bills too, but they have to like actually get in the playoffs first. I'm not sure they're going to pull it off. And then there's the Bengals with Big Jake Browning. We've been talking about him on the show for a minute. He is decent.
He's decent. Folsom
He's
kid.
decent.
Shout out to Jake Browning. I forgot when I dual stream with Grant, I'm basically an accountant. I got to manage this money. Let's get to these super chats.
Yeah, baby.
In Patillo 63 says, have you guys watched the Kinlaw and AA interview? I saw a clip of it. Did you see that, Grant? It's pretty cool, man. Yeah, Kinlaw.
When did it come out?
I think yesterday. It's on that Tidal channel. Where
cool. It came out yesterday.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Yeah, Kinlaw's been through a lot, man. He talks about his upbringing and how he's not supposed to be here and the things he's been through. Interesting stuff. But I did check it out. Johnny Cesari says the Rams, hell no, they have a subpar defense. Grant, focus beat the Ravens, beat Washington, get 1 seed, and rest everyone in week 17. That's it. The beautiful thing is Grant doesn't have to focus on that. The Niners do, Johnny. The Niners do.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
The Niners just gave up 29 points to the Cardinals. The Rams faced the Cardinals a few weeks ago, gave up 14. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, what's up with the Niners defense? They missed 16 tackles last week. They missed 15 tackles the week before then. They looked old and slow and tired before the bye week, according to their head coach. Now they're deep into the season, and they're a few weeks away from their next bye week if they get it, and they're missing tackles galore. They got injuries piling up. What's the Niners defense like right now? That could be a high-scoring game, week 18, if it matters, because the Rams can score.
Yeah, I think Niner fans are sleeping on. They think this is the same Rams team we played in the beginning of the season, and it was losing a lot of games. They've won the last 5 out of their 6 games. Now, they're not all good opponents, but they beat the hell out of the Browns that we lost to. So they have some – I think he's got to take them a little more serious than that, Johnny. But
Randall's getting mad at me. He says all teams get tired, goofball Grant. Yeah, but the Niners are the 4th oldest team in the league, and we saw that they looked old and fatigued before the bye week. That was 6 weeks into the season. They got gassed. Now we're about 7 weeks past the bye week, and they're looking like they're missing tackles galore. So I just think they gave up 29 points to Arizona. I think it's something to think about.
Yeah. The biggest concern to me in regards to that is the watching Fred Warner last week, because I'm like, hey, Fred Warner should be in the the discussion for depoy, and then he comes out and he looks like he did during that skid where they were just missing tackles and looked a little tired. And I'm hoping that doesn't continue this week, because it's just not a good week for that against this.
Is he tired, or is he not protected by Eric Armstead anymore? He's been playing behind Armstead for a very long time. And Fred Warner was not a box player in college. He was essentially like a nickel back. But the Niners, they want him playing, they want him in the middle of their zone defense, because he's clearly demonstrated one of the greatest zone defenders ever as a linebacker. Great. And that's the modern NFL. It's a passing league. So you want him there. But as a run defender, he's not the fastest. He's not the hardest hitting. Like, frankly, Dre Greenlaw, I think, is a superior run defender than Fred Warner. And so when you don't have this all-world D tackle, at least as a run stopper in front of him, and he has to take on blocks, shed blocks, make a tackle, he's a hair late. He's a step short, Looks like it to me. Sorry, Fred.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Ain't Patrick Willis when it comes to that.
Dang, P. Willie.
That's my guy,
man. Yeah. All right, Najo 49er says, if we beat Ravens, I would sit players against Washington, short week and early start on the East Coast, recipe for injuries, plus no 2-week layoff before playoff. Yeah, that's one I'm not even considered. That probably is that actually makes sense a little bit. That's the weakest link. Man, poor what's the quarterback? Can't think of his name. The quarterback for Washington. What's his name? Sam Howell has given up the most sacks and the most fumbles in the NFL. He's been sacked 59 times. That guy is going to have a bad day against the 49ers. So I think Najo makes a good point, man. Maybe that's the team that you rest players at. I don't know. What do you think?
You could just rest them by beating them and having the game be over in the third quarter, and then just beat the crap out of them, and then boom, there you go. Like, yeah, I think that could actually happen. It seems like the Washington team is committed to losing. I mean, they sold all their players off. They're firing coordinators. I think they're out. They're done. Especially week 17. What the hell are they playing for? Nothing.
Yeah, commitment to losing. That's
commitment to losing. It's like the Raiders, but
the opposite. Even though the Raiders actually seem like they're more committed to losing too. Kai gives you $5, man. Johnny says, Grant, Ryan, the Ravens offense at times pulls disappearing acts. Them losing Keaton Mitchell and a massive blow. Warner will be spying Lamar for 60 minutes. 49ers win by double digits. The Ravens are the 4th highest scoring offense, though, Johnny. They're no slouch, and they have a good defense, and they run the ball. So they're going to keep the ball out of the 49ers offense's hands. Yes, they lost Keaton Mitchell, but guess who their number 1 runner is? Lamar Jackson. So I don't know, man. I'm not so sure I'm ready to write him up, but Johnny, I love your confidence.
Johnny. Imari DiMercado ran for a 49-yard touchdown against the Niners last week. And it wasn't because Imari DiMercado is so good. It's because when Armstead's not out there, then, I mean, I don't even know about Hargrave. When Armstead's not out there, the Niners D tackles are getting moved around. They're getting pushed back at the point of attack. And so any running back is going to look good because they're going to be getting a lot of yards before contact. The Niners are going to be losing the line of scrimmage. So Gus Edwards, whoever the hell it is, Lamar Jackson, they're going to have some space to run unless Armstead's out there. So we'll have to see. Armstead didn't practice yesterday. We'll find out today if he's practicing. I get the feeling he's going to play just because it's a big game and the Niners usually rise to a challenge. But at the same time, if he's not 100% healthy and they only need to win 2 of the next 3 games, it'd be kind of irresponsible to risk anything with him in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. Primetime game. That means George Kittle's going to do good, right? It's primetime game. Yeah. Imagine that.
But the Ravens have Kyle Hamilton and they can really cover tight ends and running backs.
That's true. They actually have a defense perfect for maybe the best defense in the NFL outside of the Niners, prepared to stop Kittle. Not that they will, but they are the most prepared for it personnel wise, I would say. So we'll see. Abu Marco 23 says trading for Chase Young and signing Randy Gregory looking like season-saving moves and proves you can never have too much line depth.
Really though? Like, what has Chase Young done? What has Randy Gregory done? Hold on, let me just look up. I don't even notice Chase Young that much. So with Chase Young, he has 2 sacks with the Niners. Okay.
I'm going to be honest, man. I kind of see why Washington was a little down on Chase Young. Not that he's not a good talent, but I've seen him take quite a bit of plays off. He's like the Debo of the defense. I've seen him stand there and just watch the rest of his team play. And so I can see why Washington kind of moved on from him. That's something that, he's good when he tries, but a lot of times it seems like he's taking plays off.
He only plays 55% of the snaps with the Niners, and he's taking plays off. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think he's that important. I think they could get someone else. If he wants, I don't think he's going to get that much money.
Yeah, they might be able to.
They could bring him back. They could get someone better, though, man. Frankly,
I like Randy Gregory, though. I like his effort. I feel like he's giving it his.
I like Randy Gregory, too. He's a nice guy. I like it. I say what's up to him in the locker room. What's up, Randy?
Randy.
This is a true story. It's a true story. So, Randy Gregory gave his first interview in the locker room whenever he came to the team. And I like to do this when players come. He's older players, especially players who are in their 30s, because, I'm an older guy. I say, hey, Randy, it's a pleasure to meet you. After it's over, people disperse the group interview. Hey, Randy, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Grant Cohn. I write for SportsIllustrated.com. Shake his hand. He just smirks and he goes, man, I know who you are. And gets up and walks away. So whenever I see him, he's like, what's up, Grant? And I'm like, what's up, Randy? I don't know why he knows who I am. He had just come to the team. I can guess why he knows who I am, but that was pretty funny. I think I know.
Yeah. There's probably a warning label. Wait, make sure it's Grant guy. Yeah, they all know, I think. Yeah.
So I went up to the PR director. I was like, did you alert Randy about who I am? He was like, nah, man, Randy does his homework. I'm like, okay, fair enough.
Kai says, you got to ask Brock why he isn't throwing the deep corner post. It's weird and it's starting to irritate me because I know he can hit it.
Is that a JT O'Sullivan thing? I got to watch that.
I also saw a chart came out. I forget who posted it. I think maybe Steph Sanchez posted it. But yeah, there's a chart that comes out. He has not completed any deep corner route passes. So I'm not sure why, but he's hitting everything else. So far it hasn't hindered him though. So not the biggest deal, but yeah, there's been a couple wide open ones he hasn't thrown for whatever reason. Yeah, we'll check it out, man.
That's strange because he has no hesitation. He sees, he gets through his reads. If he sees an open guy, he lets it rip. That must be I don't know. Be interesting to see or ask him.
Yeah. Matthew Sanders says, don't want playoff Rams. Division games are fluky. Agreed. I think that's.
You don't want the Rams. You don't want them. And the thing about the Rams is they got blown out by the Cowboys. So it's possible some other team will take care of them for the Niners if they're lucky.
Yeah. Christopher Andrew says, never seen a linebacker cover receivers like Fred, though. That's true. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, cover linebacker that I remember.
In zone. In zone. Not in man-to-man coverage. Like in man-to-man coverage, I think Bowman and Willis were both superior.
Really?
I do.
Dante Whitner said that, and I disagree with him on Twitter. He said that Willis is a better cover linebacker than Fred Warner, and I disagreed. You think that's true, huh?
It's different though. Like the way the Niners play, he's playing zone coverage. He's in the mid. He's like playing free safety, but underneath. But he's playing very deep. He's like 15 yards off the ball. He's 6'3". He's got eyes on the quarterback. It's really hard to throw over the middle. Like a lot of teams want to throw that 15-yard pass over the middle. The Niners do it all the time, the dig route on play action. Kind of hard to do that with Fred Warner sitting there. Really hard. And he's playing pass before the run, playing really deep. That's super valuable. I think you see other teams trying to get players like that. But in terms of like man-to-man coverage, I mean, there's guys who are faster, quicker. Yeah, he runs a 4.65. I mean, come on. Patrick Willis ran a 4.4. Patrick Willis could run stride for stride with Jimmy Graham down the field.
He ran a 4.4.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Let's get no. He ran a 10. He actually did run it, unlike Lamar Jackson.
What was his 10-yard split? What was his 10-yard split though? Was it?
Let me get it. Let me get it. NFL draft scout, dude. He was legendary. Patrick Willis, 07. He ran. Am I wrong? He ran a 4.37 at his pro day, man. He ran a 4.37 at 242 pounds. His 10-yard split was 1.52.
He's my favorite player in the modern era. He's the favorite player that I didn't.
He's like the Bo Jackson of linebackers. Get the hell out of here with that 4.37.
That's
at 242.
That's nuts. I didn't realize that. He's one of my favorite players. Like out of all the Niners since I graduated high school, he's probably my favorite 49er player. I'm going to ask you who your favorite Niner is too at the end of this show. We got a lot of super chats, man. Let's get through these because I got a ton of questions to ask you myself. Randall says, goofball. I mean, Grant, well, just like last season when Armstead was out, our run defense is mid, unfortunately.
Yeah, like when they lost to Atlanta last year, that was largely because they got smoked at the line of scrimmage. So it's true. Armstead's important.
If Brock throws 3 touchdowns at CMC, who wins MVP? Brock. He's a quarterback.
It's gonna be Brock, man. It's gonna be Brock.
All right, last one, and then one more. Sorry, not our run defense, but the Niners' run defense is mid without Armstead. It was out there, it would be amazing, I'm sure. If I was out there, it would be amazing, I'm sure. Randall plays linebacker. Matthew Sanders, I feel like we will need a few third and long conversions early. Baltimore probably runs man in secondary. Who you got, BA or this kid Hamilton? Can BA win that matchup? I
don't think Hamilton's going to be on BA. It'll probably be Marlon Humphrey on BA. Hamilton on Kittle, I would think. I don't know. It's going to be I think the Niners offense should be pretty good. Seems like this is an all-time offense here. They have 7 more touchdowns than punts this year. This is a serious offense. They've really been great in every game that Trent Williams was healthy. So this could be, I don't know, this could be a higher scoring game. I don't know.
I want to dive in deep here with you, Mr. Grant Cohn. A little sports philosophical question here. Homerism. First of all, I want to get your definition of what you consider homerism or to be a homer. I don't consider myself a homer, and I feel like the reason I'm asking this is because I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine where it seems like football is actually, or sports in general, for me, is much more enjoyable if you're not a homer. If you can be critical and realistic, even with the teams that you love. And that's why, before I started doing this on YouTube and with you, I used to watch your show because, you're not a fan, so you're not afraid to critique our team. And I feel like if you're only looking for positives and rainbows and butterflies, and that's all you want to hear, you're missing out on a whole other side of sports. And I feel like people need to, I don't know. I'm not going to tell anyone how to fan or how you want to consume your team in sports. But for me, it's much more enjoyable not as a homer. But I want to get your definition. What's the definition of a homer, and how do you see that?
Yeah. A homer is someone who's like constantly making excuses for the home team, whether it's a media guy or an announcer or a fan. It's like every player on the home team is great. And anytime the home team loses, it's because the other team like got lucky or the refs were biased. There was a bad call. There's always an excuse. And every bit of commentary is about how great some player is, some team is, how not only how great they are, but how great a people they are, and how they're more, they're professional and caring and all that kind of stuff. And that kind of stuff makes me sick because it's just not reality. And I feel like you see it a lot in media. It's fine for fans to feel that way. That's one way for fans to engage with their team. But it feels a little childish. Like, oh, these are my heroes. These guys are the greatest. They can do no wrong. No, these are millionaires playing for billionaires. It's very, interesting profession, and it's something to critique and examine. But when media people do it, it's like, wait a second.
That's horrible. When
Why
media people
are
do
you
it.
like sucking up to power? This is a $1 billion organization, and you're supposed to be here as like a humble journalist to like keep them honest, right? And all you're doing is sort of like trying to curry favor with them. Like, that's not journalism. That's Homerism. And it's one thing if it's the play-by-play announcer and you literally work for them and they'll fire you if you don't. I
Right.
understand that's part of the job description. You understand? Like, there's a famous play-by-play announcer for the basketball team in the Bay Area, and everyone knows his name. I'm not going to say his name, but he's the essence of Homerism. And some people like that, want that when they're enjoying their team, or some people just want to be told the truth.
Mhm.
And I think if you don't work for the team and you're covering the team and you don't want to tell the truth, but you just want to make cases for why Brock Purdy is more athletic than Lamar Jackson, like, that's Homerism.
Yeah.
And it's like gaslighting when it's coming from certain sources that are supposed to be there for honesty and
Yeah.
credibility and all that stuff.
If it's coming from the media, it's absolutely awful. Now, if it's coming from the fans, again, I'm not going to tell people how they should or should not fan. But for me personally, as a fan, because I don't consider myself media, I have a YouTube channel. I talk about the team I love. I'm a fan, but I also don't consider myself a homer. And I don't like covering the team like that. I don't like listening or watching coverage like that. You're not a fan of the 49ers. Have you ever been a homer when you were a fan of any team that you enjoyed?
Hold on.
Or is it just natural? No.
Dude, I was a huge Niner fan as a kid.
But you were a kid. See, that's what I'm saying. I feel like homerism is a little bit childish. Like, I was a homer when I was a kid. But
I mean, I no, I don't root for any team anymore. I try to pretend like I care about UCLA football, but I really don't. To me,
Mhm.
as soon as you become a journalist and you're in the locker room and you realize like how little those players really care about fans. They say they do, but it's not. It's just business for them. It's their job. They're not thinking about the fans. They're not really thinking about the team that much. They work for the team. They could work for another team next year. It's all business. And I think once you sort of realize that, it's hard to look at them the same way. I still love the sport. I'm still interested in it, but it's not like, oh God, I really hope this team wins. And if they don't, I don't know, I'm going to have a good day afterward. Like, nah,
Right.
I'm going to enjoy myself.
I stopped buying jerseys. I think it was when I started covering the 49ers for Bleacher Report, and Anthony Davis just went ballistic on me for no reason at all. It just
He did that to me too.
Yeah, he was kind of like that. And, it is what it is. But it kind of opened my eyes. Like, these guys are not necessarily good people. Just because I'm a 49ers fan doesn't mean
you don't
are
know
good
them.
people, right? You don't
Just
know
because
them
he's
as
a good
people.
right tackle doesn't mean that you would enjoy being in the same room with him, or he would enjoy being in the same room with you.
Yeah. So that's why I always liked your show, John. Your show. Here's the other part of it, and then I'll move on. But I feel like when you're a homer, you're missing out on the entire game, right? Like, a lot of homers are unable to be complimentary or respect what other teams and other players throughout the NFL are doing, because they can only say nice things about the 49ers. And I feel like you're missing out on so much. If you approach fandom a little less homerish, it's so much more dynamic and diverse, and you can really enjoy the whole sport in general. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I just feel like you're like build, like when you do homers, you build these players and coaches into like saints almost. Like Purdy can do no wrong, and he's a great guy, and he's the best quarterback in the league, and he's the most athletic quarterback in the league. Like, no, stop building them up and making myths out of them. It's basically like mythology. He's not Brock Purdy. He's Achilles. He's freaking Hercules. Like, no, just because it's not New York or LA, it doesn't mean we have to mythologize the teams and the athletes out here to feel, on the same level as the big markets. Stop being so insecure.
Right.
I think homerism comes out in these mid markets, and the Bay Area is not a freaking mid market, but sometimes journalists act like it out here. Like, oh, we don't get enough attention, so I need to build up this team to make us to validate. Like, no, it's the freaking 49ers. You can be honest about them the way people are honest about the Cowboys or the Yankees or other major franchises in America.
Yes.
It's not like you're covering A's, and you're like, hey, come pay attention to this plucky team over here. Like, no,
Yeah.
people are going to pay attention to the Niners, whether they're 3-11 or 11-3. So keep it real.
Yeah, I think that's it's just much more enjoyable. It's entertainment, and if you're only complimentary and you're only seeing sunshine and rainbows, you're missing out on a whole section of the entertainment value for me personally. So I wanted to have that discussion with you because I feel like you are a good person to talk to about it with because of how your dad covered the team, how you covered the team, and you're just a smart guy. So I wanted to have that conversation, man.
Some people cover the team like, man, let's just take notes and watch a championship organization do its thing. It's like, first of all, they haven't won a championship. Why are we looking at them like that? This is not, the Niners from the 80s. Let's approach them with a critical eye. I think that's the thing. Homerism just doesn't approach anything with a critical eye. It says, it's like stenographers. Let's just copy down what they say and then put it down like it's almost like we're writing the Bible. Like this is what Brock Purdy said on this day. Like that's not journalism. That's Homerism.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Thanks for having this conversation with me. I got another one. Got another one for you. You're not scared to admit when you're wrong. Neither am I. Some people are. I think it's fascinating if we go back. You've been doing this for a while. I've been doing this not nearly as long as you. It's my 14th month doing this on YouTube. What's your worst take?
I mean, I feel like my coverage of Brock Purdy all of training camp was my worst take. I just didn't see the forest through the trees. I saw a dude coming off a serious surgery on a pitch count who missed all of minicamp and OTAs, throw a bunch of picks against good and thought he's going to have a bad year. He might be a flash in the pan. The Niners need to keep their options open at quarterback. Didn't realize, like, wait a second. He's going to improve as the year goes on. He's very fresh off this injury. And he's a lot better than Jimmy Garoppolo. He actually is going to improve on his weaknesses as opposed to Jimmy. So I feel like I didn't see it with Brock. I was up close and personal, watching him every day, and misinterpreted the whole thing. And happy to say that because he's a pleasure to watch. And I was never rooting against him. I was just so used to the Jimmy Garoppolo experience. He had the torn ACL. He had the hot start. He had a terrible training camp. He threw a bunch of picks, and it all was, it all was foreshadowing for what ended up happening to his career. And I guess I felt Brock was going down the same path. I was used to that story. Brock's a different story.
I think my worst take is Brock related. Also, it's the Jimmy G PTSD. It's a symptom of that. I think going from Jimmy G for these many years and then watching what Brock and to be fair, Brock Purdy was not going deep last year. So when I called him dink and dunk, I just got over Jimmy Garoppolo for 5-6 years, and then I'm watching Brock Purdy not really go deep. I think he had like 2 completions over 30 yards last year, something like that. And so I called him dink and dunk, and I didn't think he was gonna be able to go deep.
It almost seemed like he was afraid to go deep, like Jimmy.
Like Jimmy, I thought we were in for another Jimmy, and that's when this tweet that sparked this whole dink and dunk thing. I sent it out because I don't see how 49er fans are comfortable trying to win another Lombardi trophy, dinking dunking their way or something like that, right? And
right, they tried that with Jimmy.
They tried that with Jimmy. It's not going to work, and that's been my biggest complaint under Kyle Shanahan and his offense is we just had no deep threat. And I was wrong about Brock Purdy not being able to do that. I don't know if I was wrong at the time because that's kind of what he was doing. Even Brock admitted on the radio, but I was wrong about him not being able to because he obviously is. He's the best in the NFL at it right now. He's killing it. And I'm thrilled as a fan. I'm thrilled to be wrong because this is what Brock Purdy's doing now with his passing offense is what I've been longing for since, I don't know, Cap did it for like a year and a half. But before that, I mean, Garcia Young, right? So I've been dying to see the 49ers offense look like this. I was wrong that Brock Purdy wasn't going to be able to do it. I'm thrilled that he can. And so, yeah, that was my worst take. Let me get your best take, man. What's your best take since you've been doing this?
My best take was saying in 2019 that Nick Mullins is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I said that in 2019.
Yeah.
And I stand by it.
Mm-hmm.
I was down on Jimmy the whole time. His first win, his first start, if I remember correctly, he beat Mitchell Trubisky like 15-9, I want to say, something like that. I think they kicked 5 field goals. And people were like, oh my God, the Niners savior is here. They just won a game. Like, yeah, they just won a game. But down that stretch where they won 5 in a row with Jimmy in 2017, and that was the Robbie Gold show. If you go back and look, they had a one big game against Jacksonville. But other than that, it was the Robbie Gold show. I never was sold on Jimmy Garoppolo. It just seemed like he was a slightly better quarterback than CJ Beathard on a team that was almost winning games with CJ Beathard. And he came here and got paid a lot of money for actually winning some games that didn't matter. And I felt like I saw through it the whole time, even when he was rolling in 2019 and everyone said he was better than Kirk Cousins or better than, some people said he was better. The spreadsheets was making cases that he was better than Aaron Rodgers. Remember that? Because of EPA or whatever. I mean, some people were really laying it on thick that this guy was the next Tom Brady or like, no. I was adamant about it, and I picked against the Niners in the Super Bowl because of him. I always picked against the Niners in big games because of him, and it paid off. Betting against Jimmy Garoppolo was the smartest thing I ever did. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I agreed with you. I think that's another reason why I was so drawn to your channel over the last 2-3 years since I've been watching. Is I agreed, man. I thought Jimmy was bad for a long time, and I think that might have been one of my best. But I haven't been covering as long as you, so I would say a lot of people were out on Hufanga after his rookie year, and I said he's going to have a great, phenomenal year his sophomore year, and I was right about that. Feliciano, I told everyone Feliciano's one of the top 3 linemen on this team. I still think he is. So maybe that, but yeah, I just haven't been doing it as long as you.
There was a lot of pushback if you criticize Jimmy Garoppolo early on. Remember, the Niners stunk. They went from being really good to running out Harbaugh, Kaepernick sort of falling apart, starting Blaine Gabbert. It was all bad. Starting CJ Beathard and Brian Hoyer. And the team was sort of almost losing relevance. They bring in Kyle Shanahan and they're 1-10. It's looking like, man, he may not be able to figure it out either. This team is almost, people are losing money. People that are used to cashing in, writing about the Niners, talking about the Niners, selling subscriptions based on your coverage of the Niners are getting tuned out. Then Jimmy Garoppolo comes in and they start winning and interest in the team spikes. And all of a sudden, I feel like a lot of journalists made the unspoken agreement to just not rock the boat. All of a sudden, interest is up. Let's not say anything about this. Let's just say Jimmy's. I remember one, how Jimmy had like a bunch of nicknames. Jimmy Jesus, Jimmy GQ, Jimmy this, Jimmy that, Jimmy whatever.
Yeah.
I heard one person say, one journalist say on the sideline of a practice, call him Jimmy Subscriptions. And that was back in 2017. Like, we are eating. We are eating because this guy's in town. Like, man, okay, well, I'll be eating in 2023 when everyone remembered that I said it first and you guys were gorging out on your Jimmy Subscriptions.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm not naming names. But that happened. I heard it.
There's only a couple,
I didn't like it at the time, and I don't like it now.
There's only a couple of people that sell subscriptions on it. And one of those guys was pushing Jimmy through like week 3 on the Raiders this year. Just leave it at that, I guess. I guess we should probably tackle some of these super chats before I have a couple more questions I wanted to get through you. Let me find out where I'm at. Let's see. All right, here we are. Man, when Grant dual streaming with Grant is no joke. The level of super chats. Man, all right, here we go. Grant, love you, but you're gonna say Ravens are trash if Niners win like you do when they beat all the good teams.
You know me.
Grant,
look at what the Ravens though. Mark Andrews hurt, and then the 2 of their wide receivers questionable. If the Ravens lose, I'm using the injury excuse. So just be prepared for that.
Matthew Sanders says, Grant, love you, but worst take was CMC not worth it.
Hey, there's a lot of contenders. So if people want to throw them out there, I didn't like the CMC trade at all. But hold on. This isn't my worst take. I think Brock Purdy's the worst take. This wasn't such a bad take because my take was the quarterback is still Jimmy. The quarterback is still Jimmy. You could bring Christian McCaffrey on this team, but ultimately the quarterback is still Jimmy, and it's not changing the fact that this team isn't winning the Super Bowl. That he was gone. Brock Purdy came in and was way better than the Niners thought he would be, than anyone thought he would be. So, yeah. I was wrong. I'll take it.
Yeah. I was right about that one. That one I was happy about. The only thing I was concerned though was the injuries. Like I was worried about CMC. I said this is a good trade if he stays healthy. If he doesn't, then it could be bad because he has.
I had no idea they could give him the ball 20, 25 times a game and he would stay healthy. Like since when, Christian?
Right.
Did you see the outfit he had in in San Francisco the other day when he got stopped and talked to the
By the
firefighters.
firefighters? Yeah.
Dude, his girlfriend, he needs to stop letting his girlfriend dress him. She must be a model or whatever, and she like keeps trying to bring him to fashionable stuff, and he just looks like he'll just say whatever. He was wearing this tan leather jacket with the sleeves way past his fingers. It's like, come on, man. You probably spent thousands of dollars on that. Can you just get one that fits?
Rich people, man, they really are unique in the way they dress. A little extra.
Yeah, they think that if it's just like if you just spend a lot of money on the jacket, everyone's gonna think it looks nice. It doesn't even fit you, Christian. Come on. I know it's expensive, but dude, you got to start standing up to your girlfriend and be like, "This looks ridiculous. I'm wearing these little boots. I would never wear these boots. You want me to wear the boots? I would never wear these."
Yeah, that's dangerous actually too, because you can't.
He seems like a freaking tank top kind of guy, tank top and backwards hat kind of guy. He's over there wearing like Italian designer. Come on, Christian, just say no.
Just say no.
No is a full sentence. No.
Johnny says, I wanted Wilkes canned after Minnesota game, so clearly it was a misstep on my behalf, and I trust 49ers offense on any situation. That's your worst take then, Johnny. I'm taking it. Right?
And what sucks about the Wilkes thing from that game, what did he do? He called the zero blitz.
Mhm.
And he got thrown under the bus by his coach. He apologized publicly for it. The ball hit Travarius Ward in the chest.
Mhm.
It did.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Okay, so the worst thing that Wilkes did in that situation was trust Travarius Ward to be a baller. And Travarius Ward was in position, the ball hit him in the chest, and he bounced it over to Jordan Addison. So privately, Steve Wilkes is like,
yeah,
Travarius, man, I'm going to trust you the rest of the season, but don't get me fired, please.
Yeah. Who is balling? Travarius having a
Balling.
phenomenal season. Second in interception. First in some other stuff too. So he's top 3 right now, top 4, top 5 corner.
Travarius, you're doing a really good job, man. We're very impressed with your level of play. Real big fans of you, Travarius. Good job,
Travarius. CHARV. Charver. Yeah, I know how to spell it. I promise.
VARIUS.
Travarius, not IOUS.
Using a sentence. Could you use in a sentence? Yes.
Travarius
Ward let the ball hit him in the chest, and then Jordan Addison caught it and went for a touchdown, and Steve Wilkes almost got fired. That is how Travarius Ward.
Yeah. Travarius. My guy. Gentlemen, wait, I better put it up here. Gentlemen, do you think Brock will be better in year 5, or has he reached his ceiling? Christopher Andrews says. So this one I thought Brock was closer to his ceiling than Trey Lance. I still think that's obviously the case. But what's cool about Brock is that he can improve because it's really mental. And I think there's still room for him to improve mental. And maybe his arm strength gets better over time.
I keep saying no. I don't see how he could. He's so advanced. His quarterback rating's 119. I mean, he's so freaking advanced. He has gotten the absolute most out of his skill set. He's already one of, if not the most smartest quarterbacks in the NFL, the most decisive, the best at seeing the field. He's already like off the charts in so many things. Can his arm get a little stronger over time? Maybe, perhaps. But I just feel like where is the improvement going to come? He's going to win the MVP this year. His team's not going to get better around him.
I think he can improve mentally, but not necessarily statistically.
Okay,
I think that's possible.
I can see that.
Beats and Meats, who has one of the craziest names on YouTube, says, I wasn't sold on Brock till he threw that first deep sideline pass to Ayuk like 8 weeks ago. I've always thought you can't win the Super Bowl if you can't throw the deep ball outside the number. See, that's the thing. A lot of the NFL now is dink and dunk, and that's okay if that's not all you can do. And I was worried that was all Brock could do because that's all Jimmy could do, and that's all I really saw from Brock last year outside of a couple passes. To me, he's proved that he can do it all, which is the biggest difference to me and why I have him as my MVP right now, because that's what I want as missing from the 49ers. So I don't know. That's my take on Brock. And
okay, here's my take on Brock. I want to see him against a really good defense. I want to see him beat a really good defense. He beat Dallas. Okay, he beat Dallas and Pittsburgh are the best defenses he beat. I guess Tampa. But like he faced Minnesota and struggled. Minnesota's given up 19 points per game. He faced Cleveland and struggled. They're giving up 20 points per game. Now he's going to have to face Baltimore. They're giving up 16. These AFC teams are way better than these NFC teams. They're more physical. They have better defenses. I want to see Brock beat a legit AFC team and look good. You beat Pittsburgh and Jacksonville. Those teams are pretty mediocre. I want to see him beat the best of the best in the AFC. That's the new challenge. Sorry, that's it. I keep moving the goalpost, but that's the new challenge. And if Baltimore doesn't present a challenge, then it's going to be Kansas City or Buffalo or Miami in the Super Bowl. But eventually the Niners are going to have an actual challenge from the AFC. I want to see that, especially with Brock.
Yeah. Matthew Sanders says, we all thought Kittle was washed. Man, I was wrong.
No, it was Jimmy. Freaking Jimmy. God, yeah. We weren't hard enough on Jimmy.
Yeah.
George was his friend. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Josh Wyatt, what's up? Josh says, worst take was Trey Lance. We all managed to convince ourselves at some point that he would be an upgrade, but in retrospect, that pick was doomed. I'm gonna be honest, man. I know the people. I'm not gonna write off Trey Lance. I don't think it's gonna be very hard for him to get an opportunity. But I think if he had an opportunity to play for a year or two, I think all the tangibles, the mental, it's all there. He just lacks experience. So I'm not going to say Trey Lance can't be good one day. I still think it's a possibility if he gets an opportunity.
Hold on. Wait a second, Josh. I think me in particular, I criticize the Niners process with Trey Lance. I never said they should trade up to the number 3 pick. That was a whole lot. Once they did that, I said, okay, well, then you got to take this quarterback. I mean, Justin Fields and Mac Jones weren't the right answer. I felt like Trey Lance was someone they could develop. But they never developed him. They never gave him a chance. The timeline was wrong. Trading up for him was a mistake. But once they traded up to 3, yeah, they could have taken Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase, but can you really trade 3 first-round picks for anything other than a quarterback? Probably it's hard. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't support that trade. They put a lot of pressure on Trey. The process was ridiculous. And I felt like once you made that investment, you sort of owe it to your team to like see what you got. And if they didn't lug into Brock Purdy, that trade would have sunk them. So I don't know.
One more super chat, then I got a couple more questions for you. It's Vito Baby says, here's a donation. Just want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas to both of you, and let's go Niners. Shout out to Vito, man. He's one of the nicest guys in this.
Vito. Good name.
Vito, yeah, that's a great name.
Vito.
Yes. Let's talk about obviously the game at hand. How do the 49ers win this thing? And what's the scariest thing about the Ravens?
Lamar Jackson. The scariest thing about the Ravens is that Mark Andrews is hurt. Odell Beckham Jr. is hurt. Zay Flowers is hurt, I believe. And all of those guys could miss the game. And they're still worried that Lamar Jackson is going to run on you. I mean, the Niners have a really good pass defense. They have that pass rush. Javarius Ward's doing a great job. Deommodore Lenoir's really good. Jair Brown, Fred Warner, incredible in coverage, really good pass defense, but statistically not a good run defense. And they can work around that because they outscore teams. But now they're facing a team that has the number 1 defense and the number 2 run game. That is a recipe for a very close game, and the Niners haven't won those. They've lost the close games this year. So that's what's scary about the Ravens is that they could lose a bunch of receivers and they still have a dominant offensive line that could win the trenches and a dominant run game that the Niners might not be equipped to stop.
Yeah. I think, the Brock Purdy has roughly 3,800 yards right now, I think. Something like that. 3,900. So does Lamar Jackson if you include his rushing yards. And he also, they're tied. So Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, I don't know about Carr now. Did Carr throw a pick last night? Because I didn't watch the game.
I forget.
Well, anyway, we'll exclude Carr because he's not in this room. But Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy, we'll just talk about those guys because they're the ones playing Monday. Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy are the only 2 quarterbacks, him and Dak Prescott and Carr before last night. I'm not sure what happened. But those 4 quarterbacks were the only quarterbacks in the NFL that played 14 games and only have 7 interceptions. No quarterbacks have played 14 games.
Carr threw 1 pick last night. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick.
So he's out of it now, right? But he's played 15, has 8. But the thing is, so Dak, Lamar, Brock Purdy, all of them played 14 games, and they have 7 interceptions. No quarterback has played 14 and has less. So not only is Lamar Jackson explosive, he can run, he can pass. He's not turning the ball over. and he leads the fourth highest scoring offense. So I really, Lamar could be a game changer. And if the run defense doesn't come ready to go on Monday, that's the thing that scares me the most is just Lamar Jackson getting off, the run game getting off. Now, we're going to talk about the final prediction here in just a second, but that is what scares
It's
me the
easier
most.
to run against the Niners than to pass against them. No question. And now you're facing the quarterback who's the best at running in the league, the best maybe ever in terms of running for a quarterback. Okay, Keaton Mitchell won't be there. Okay. They'll still have running backs. They'll still run the ball. The Cardinals could run the ball on the Niners. Then the Ravens can run the ball on the Niners. And it's really going to come down to, can the Niners outscore them? I'm not sure that they can contain this Ravens run game if they're getting blown off the ball at D tackle.
And if they lose the time of possession, I think that's the key. Like they got to win that time of
they
possession.
Did they lose time possession against the Cardinals?
I don't know about that. I don't think so. I think it was even, pretty close.
Was it even? It finally evened out. Okay,
Yeah, I think it was pretty.
They
close.
were losing it in the first half.
I think it was pretty close. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure.
No. Ravens had 34 minutes. Niners had 25. Excuse me.
You're talking about the
Cardinals had 34
Okay.
minutes. Niners had 25.
Oh, so they did lose it.
Yeah, because they were running the hell out of the ball.
So here's I got a question for you. Who's a better running quarterback, Lamar Jackson or Mike Vick? Who's better at it? Who's the biggest threat?
Lamar Jackson.
Really?
And I love Mike Vick was great, but Lamar Jackson is more elusive, more just as fast, maybe a little bigger, but like even shiftier than Mike Vick, in my opinion. And Mike Vick was super duper shifty. Vick had a stronger arm. Vick had a freaking cannon. He could just kind of flick the ball 90 yards. And Lamar doesn't have that. But as a runner, I think Lamar is the most dynamic runner I've ever seen.
Lamar said in an interview recently he could throw the ball 100 yards in high school, but then he got injured. Now he can only throw at 80.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
There was a big difference between his arm and Vick's arm. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Vick had a legit cannon.
But you think Lamar's a better runner?
I do. It's been a while. I mean, I haven't watched Mike Vick highlights in a long time. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, Mike Vick though on Madden was dangerous back in the day. All right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Lee.
Yes.
Yeah, Jesse's son actually became a Ravens fan because Lamar Jackson is so mobile on
Good
Madden.
taste.
Yeah.
Good taste.
Smart
And that's
Madden.
the best way to determine your fandom right there. Who do you like playing with on Madden? That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always had
I like
to find somebody else. I couldn't play with Jimmy. That was
I like playing with Garcia back in the day. TO was a cheat code. So easy.
Nobody beat Bo Jackson in Tecmo Bowl. It's the greatest video game football player of all time. Final prediction, man. How do you see this game working out? Are you ready to give that to me?
Today? Yeah, I'll tell you how I'm leaning. I'd like to know the injury situation, especially at D tackle, before I give like a score, because I don't know if it's going to be a low scoring game or a high scoring game. But I'm leaning towards the Ravens. It just feels like it's going to be a close game, which means they're going to be able to stick to the run, which is what the Niners don't want. Again, they usually get teams to abandon the run just because they're down by 10, 11, 14, 17. I don't think it's going to be that kind of a game. Maybe it is. So if it's close, Ravens can run the ball. They can win the time of possession. Great defense. I think the Niners lose. Now, if Armstead plays, if Hargrave plays, I might change my mind on that. But we'll see if they even practice today.
Okay. I got 20. I think I'm wrong. I think I'm right about the score separation, the spread, but I think I may be a little high. But since I said it yesterday, I'm going to stick with it. I think it's 27-24 Niners. Niners win by 3. Jake Moody sealing the deal. I think it's going to be a really close, even game, but they're at home. I give the advantage to the Niners for that. So I think it's going to be a 3-point game. 27-24 might be a little high, maybe more like 24-21 or 21-17, something like that. But I think it's going to be a 3-4 point game. But I have the Niners winning home game. I think they're going to pull it off.
Harris says Grant will downplay the Ravens if we win. That is 100% true. Thank you. At least Harris knows me. That's true.
Yeah. You got to.
No, I don't know. I mean, I will see what happens in the game. If the Ravens get blown out, I'm definitely downplaying them. But if it's a close game and the Niners pull it out, that will be a big deal. But yeah, if the Ravens get blown out, get out of here. I don't think they will, though.
Last question from me, and then we'll get to these super chats. But, it's Christmas, and I feel like, we got to kind of be in a jolly spirit. So I know you're not a Niners fan, but you don't have to be to have a. I spelled that wrong, by the way. That's gonna bother me. Favorite, fave, or writ. Okay, there we go. Let's fix it. We gotta be accurate here. All right. You don't have to be a fan to. I didn't fix it. Damn it, I'm gonna take it off. Let me just ask you the freaking question.
Favorite.
Who's your favorite 49ers player and why?
Okay. My favorite 49ers player. One of two. I want to say Trent Williams. I've never appreciated an offensive lineman the way I appreciate him. Like anytime there's a run, I'm watching him. I used to always watch the running back, but whenever there's that toss to the left, my eyes immediately go to 7-1. I've never been so interested to see an offensive lineman block downfield. I've never seen one so good. I've never seen one move so well. So I feel like he's like giving me a whole different appreciation for the sport. And then there's Brock. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's a lot more fun to watch than Jimmy. He's maybe even more fun to watch than because there is a creativity that I don't even think Kaepernick had. He's a lot like young Russell Wilson without the 4.5 speed or the super duper deep ball, but just the ad-lib ability is a lot of fun to watch. And Russell Wilson is one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch ever. Not the best ever, but one of my favorite to watch. Really enjoy watching Purdy, and I enjoy covering Purdy. He's the most down-to-earth quarterback I've ever covered on the 49ers. Maybe that'll change, but so far he's been the starter for 2 seasons, and he's exactly the same with us. He's approachable in the locker room. If you go up to him, if he talks on a Thursday and he's at his locker on a Wednesday and you go up to him, he won't be like, yo, I'm talking tomorrow. He'll just talk to you, which is cool. He's like a person. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I remember Cap, like he was very cool in the beginning. He kind of changed as time went on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Brock doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's going to change. I think he'll stay the same. So we'll see, though. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think
Kaepernick got really into like celebrity and fame. I felt. My opinion.
Yeah. For me, it's been for a while Brandon Ayuk because of just I think he does everything you want from a player. Like if I'm the coach of the 49ers, Brandon Ayuk is like one of my favorite players. CMC probably, but I just really like Brandon. But here's over the last 2-3 weeks, I just really enjoyed Debo, man. Just because he's like super dynamic. Obviously, he takes plays off. That stuff bugs me from a coaching standpoint. But he's so damn dynamic and explosive and just unlike a lot of any other player in the NFL, really. And I just like he's a little socially awkward. And I like that he's not scared to say what's on his mind, though, at the same time. And he's just kind of, he's an entertaining dude, man. So over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been really just Debo. I mean, he's just been balling and he's not scared to call his shots. And then he goes and does interviews and he's a little bit socially awkward, I guess, but it's in a good way. And I kind of just enjoy it. So I don't really have favorite players that much, but I think right now Debo's been super entertaining for me as a fan.
Yeah. Debo's a lot of fun. I like him a lot. He's cool.
Yeah. All right,
also, Nick Bosa. He's really good, and he's like the most honest player in the Niners locker room. He's so good. He makes so much money. He makes so much more money than Kyle. He really feels the license to tell it how it is, and I appreciate any. It's usually a pass rusher. I used to go to Ahmad Brooks. It was my go-to guy. He would just tell the truth with no hesitation. And there's always one player on the team that's like, what are they going to do? What are they going to get rid of me because I told the truth? Yeah, I love it. Nick Bosa is that guy. I really appreciate. He's always the first guy to talk. Locker room opens on Wednesday. Kittle wait till Thursday. McCaffrey wait till Thursday. I don't know why. They're settling in. Bosa, you walk in the locker room on Wednesday. Bosa's at his locker. Let's go. I'm number 1. Here we go. I appreciate that. Thank you, Nicholas. Thanks.
Yeah.
I love it. Ben Warner's next. Those two are serious. Like I talk first for this team. This is my team. First, like, no, I'm second. This is also my team. George McCaffrey, like, cool, that's fine.
Yeah.
You guys talk. Even Purdy, like, I'll wait till Thursday. You guys go ahead.
Honestly, if Fred had a better game last week, I probably would have said Fred. I really like Fred in general. I'm just kind of, I put out on Twitter, man, this guy's going to be depoy, and then he just did not look good last game. So he made me slightly.
I still feel like it's a defensive team, though, because the real leaders on this team are on defense. Both and Warner. They speak for the team. They lead the team. They're the best players on the team, except for Trent. Yeah, but Trent's like a big kid, man. He's dancing with Debo. You know what I mean?
Tabor Pepper's actually my favorite.
He is the leader of this squad.
Yeah,
they go as Tabor goes.
Yeah, he's my favorite 49er by far. He talks to me all the time on Twitter. No one else does. None of these other Niner players talk to me like Tabor.
He doesn't talk to me.
Tabor's my favorite, and he's gonna make the Pro Bowl this year. Shout out to Tabor Pepper.
Shout out to Tabor. Give me another chance, Tabor.
Johnny says, best take I predicted a breakout year for Debo. Ryan Grant, happy holidays.
No one asked you, John.
Don't come at my guy Johnny like
Sorry,
that.
John, I was kidding.
The $1.99 from Ro Polo. Appreciate it. Josh. Don't come at Johnny like that, Grant. Joshua Wyatt says pick was doomed not because of Trey, but because of his timeline. We all should have known it on draft day, but we convinced ourselves it would work.
There was no right pick at number 3. Mac Jones would have been wrong. Justin Fields would have been wrong. Trey Lance would have been wrong. Jamar Chase or Penei Sewell would have been great, but it would have been a really expensive way to get him. That trade was doomed from the beginning. You're right.
Yeah.
And Trey was put in a terrible situation. Everyone said he could have been the next Josh Allen. Josh Allen went to a rebuilding team with a first-year coach. That is not what Trey Lance got to go to.
Yeah, he needed time on the field.
Robert. He didn't get in college.
Robert, I'm so bad with names. Robert Tooncap. That's what I'm going to go with.
Could be.
Ravens allow 100 yards to the run on defense. Bang.
Bang.
Bang. Well, that's pretty common with CMC.
Both teams should be able to be balanced on offense. Both teams. This could be a high-scoring game. This could be something like, what was it in the Super Bowl, 34-31 Ravens?
I don't remember, but I think
it was.
Yeah.
But that was Flacco.
Yeah.
Jody.
Flacco. He's still playing, man. Flacco.
Dude, watch him mess around and win his second Super Bowl. Watch.
That would be wild. You're going on with a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, Sourdough Sam, tonight, I think, right? What else you got going on?
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
His show's cool. I like him.
Yeah. I like his production level is next level, and I like his very dry sense of humor. I like
it's a great combination. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. Grant, Merry Christmas, buddy. And Happy Hanukkah. And Kwanzaa.
Hanukkah. All of it, man. It's a pleasure to see you, dude.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully get some heat in that room one of these days. I know you're working through it, man.
I'm gonna ask Santa for some heat. We'll see if he delivers. But yeah, anyways, man. Thank you for letting me do this today. And I guess we're not gonna be on Monday because that's Christmas, so that's why we decided to do it today.
Yeah, I'll give you the day off. I'm gonna find a way to stream on Christmas because like George got a little Grinch in me.
Well, you got to do the post game show.
Got to. That is true. Yeah,
you got to do that.
Got to.
All right, man. Appreciate you, buddy. Have a good day. Have a good Christmas. Shout out to the family. And thank you everyone for watching. If you didn't like this video, please like it. Also, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do that as well as Grant's, because Grant needs some subs. So if you're not subscribed to Grant yet,
hook me up.
Hook him up, man. It's
please.
Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?
Thanks for matching me today, Grant. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
We coordinated.
Yeah. See you guys.